When it comes to addressing or eliminating midday crash, it is a very broad topic, meaning that there could be multiple sources of what's actually correlating it and causing it. However, there are a few topics and things I recommend you guys to go over to see what's actually going on. And the first one being consistent meal timings. So when are you actually eating your meals? And I'm talking to all the people who do intermittent fasting, the people who skip breakfast because it's more productive. And we'll talk later about why I don't recommend intermittent fasting later in the course. But this does tie in really nicely with meal timings and what it does to our blood sugar specifically. Now, I didn't really make a keynote slide because this concept is super simple, so I figured just making a quick little whiteboard drawing would explain it enough. So when we're looking at our body, the biggest stressor is by far our blood sugar. So whether it's going up or down, this really majorly impacts us in a metabolic way, including our energy levels. And one mistake I see a lot of people make is that if you're not full on intermittent fasting, a lot of you guys just wake up, have coffee, and then you skip breakfast. And I know this doesn't seem dangerous or harmful, but the issue with this is that when you are going a long time without eating meals, your blood sugar will go down. And what goes down must come up. Now, we don't want our blood sugar to look like a roller coaster because if it looks like that acutely, that could result in fatigue, drowsiness, jitteriness, brain fog, that midday crash. You're kind of almost on a roller coaster of fatigue and then energy, and your body doesn't really know what to do. And chronically, this can lead to obesity, this can lead to heart disease. So this is what happens if it goes on for a prolonged time. And what's happening inside the body is when we skip breakfast, our blood sugar drops because we're not eating any sugar. And then since it's so low, when we have our lunch around 12, it goes from low to really high because you just had this surplus of food. And when we get a spike in our blood sugar levels, we have to have a crash as well. And when we have a crash, that's the fatigue you're feeling. That's almost this like brick wall you feel like you're ramming into in the afternoon where you feel like you need to take a nap, you need to lie down for a little bit, you just can't focus. Sometimes this, bleeds into having brain fog itself. So not just the feeling of needing to take a nap, but also if you try and skip the nap and you try and stay awake, it might also feel like brain fog. So what our body desperately needs for consistent, stable energy throughout the day is that we want our blood sugar to, instead of being this roller coaster of spikes and crashes, we want it to be very mellow. So every time you eat a meal, you're going to have a little spike no matter what it is. But as long as it stays in this range and you're kind of going up and then down, up and down, as long as it stays in this range, you are totally fine. It's these big ups and downs that cause or just wreak havoc in our body. And the biggest component to that is by far insulin. Because when we have sugar in our blood, it needs to be a very specific amount. It can't be any more or any less. And insulin is the driving factor that regulates that. So what I recommend you guys to do is to not skip breakfast, have this dip and then spike, and then you just feel like shit for the rest of the day. What you guys need to be doing is making sure you are having breakfast and keeping your blood sugar this very stable amount throughout the entire day. Now, if you think about your blood sugar, almost think about it in the aspect of money in the bank, right? If you are someone who owns a business and you are not getting paid on a consistent timely manner, it's going to be super stressful because you have no idea how much money you're getting, when you're getting it, and you're just going to be on edge because that's the only thing you're going to be able to think about. And the same thing is happening to our body. So if we're running a business and we have no idea how much money we're going to get, if it's going to be low, if it's going to be high, when it's going to happen, it's going to be really stressful. And the same thing happens to our body. Because just like how money is the fuel for your bank, sugar is the fuel for our bodies, blood sugar. So almost think of your blood sugar as money, and your body needs to know when it's coming and how much is coming. Our bodies are always trying to find patterns. Always. That's what our circadian rhythms fall on. That's what everything in life has patterns. Your work schedule, when you feed your dog, your own body. And so everything needs to have a pattern. So if you're randomly skipping meals, your body's not going to like that, and it's going to react in a way that you don't want it to. So step one in eliminating midday crash is to have consistent meal times. So you are skipping this crash and burn basically of your energy levels.